Hello everyone. So I am now at one of the investment portfolio flats, and I thought I will do a bit of a different video today. You might be curious to see the portfolio, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to drive through most of the flats in the portfolio. Our portfolio isn't that big, and show you what they are. And as I'm driving between them, you might have to excuse me, I might have to stop a few times for the sat-nav reasons, but overall I know most of my way around. So I'm going to show you the flat, what it is. I'm going to then drive, and as I'm driving, talk you through what the flat is, how much rent it is, what the value is, my experiences with the management of that flat. Then we get to the next one, we'll do the same, and we'll go all around. So the portfolio is actually very close together. It's a very controversial way of doing it, but I find it useful for myself, right? So my house is 10 minutes away from here, and my first property is right here, and you will see in this video I can drive pretty much the whole portfolio in maybe 25 to 30 minutes depending on how I stop, park, and etc. So we will start with the first one. The first property is this one here. It is in the Greenfield area of Glasgow. It's just this flat on the top right there. So now let's drive to the next one and I will talk about it. Let's go. Drive and off we go. So this flat that you've just seen there, it's a one-bedroom flat. It's been in the portfolio since 2019, so 6 years. The value of that flat, I haven't had it professionally valued, but I would say is between 50 and 70,000 pounds. The rent on this flat has been 500 to 650 pounds, but the current rent is about 650 to 700. It is around 50 square meters ish, which is not bad for a one-bedroom flat. It's actually very well spaced out. It's got a decent sized living room, decent sized kitchen, all in good condition. In the 6 years I've owned it, we did a bit of painting, changing of bulbs. I did a very quick refurb in the bathroom. The boiler broke not too long ago, and that was a 500 odd pounds fix because the agency I think charged me too much, or the guy working for the agency charged me too much. So yeah, it is, as I said, 50 to 70,000 pound property, 650 a month rent, so you're talking double digits yield. And I've always had tenants in it. The void periods have been relatively small. It's always in high demand. It's in a very good area of Glasgow. So with that one, I'm going to be keeping it. I'm going to continue to rent it out, and it shouldn't need too much more. The boiler has just been fixed. It had an expansion vessel and the pressure release valve changed. So that was almost 600 quid, guys. Almost 600 quid for those two things to be changed. Tell me that's not a rip-off. Anyways, that's been done. There was a little cupboard in there that had a big central heating unit. I think that was before the gas was installed, and I had to get that out. So we've had to disassemble it all, take all the bricks out of it, get rid of it completely, take it to the recycling centre. Actually, the bricks somebody I think took for a sauna or something like that, and then the actual unit we got rid of because it's got gas central heating, so there's no need for this old electrical heating unit. And we've made a little cupboard in there. So now where that central heating unit used to be, it's just a couple of shelves and a nice hanger where people can put in their clothes, shoes, etc. So that's been a bit of a transformation. We've also had all the radiators changed in there. It's a small flat, so it's only a couple of radiators. I think that cost about £500. Again, a bit much for what it is, but it's a good flat, so I wanted to keep it in good condition. So it's got new radiators, it's got, the boiler's just been fixed. There was a period of time that the shower kept breaking, so I replaced the shower once or twice, realized it's not the shower, and then had to replace the actual switch for the shower and some of the wiring that was there. And then the consumer unit was also replaced a while ago. So yeah, now that I keep talking about it, there have been several things in the 6 years, but they're not massive. If you think about it, radiators 500 quid, boiler repairs with servicing and stuff, we'll say £1,000 over this time, so that's 1,500. Shower repairs, maybe 200, 300, so 1,800. The conversion of the cupboard, 200 quid, because most of it was done myself. So that's 2 grand. And maybe bits here. The bathroom was 1,500, so that's 3.5 grand. So yeah, I would say about £4,000 of repairs over the 6 years that I've owned it. And then at the start, maybe £1,000 just to tidy up before renting it. So 5 grand of repairs over the period of 6 years. I think that's not bad, to be honest. About £1 grand a year, and we've done some decent upgrades, and the property is in very good condition, and it should be rented for many more years. So that's that one. That's pretty much the summary. We are driving, we keep getting stopped. There's like lorries being parked, traffic lights take ages, but very soon we will be at the next property. My idea was to keep talking to you guys, and then boom, I've arrived. But because of those stupid traffic lights and things holding me up, that's not quite possible. But either way, I'm going to keep talking, and maybe I'll let you know now about this next flat. So the next flat is only a couple of miles away. It is also a 1-bedroom. Sorry, a guy just decided to go into my lane because he was overtaking someone in a 20-mile-an-hour road. Absolute idiots living here, some of them. So this next flat is also a 1-bedroom. There's only 2 1-bedroom flats in the portfolio. I have had that one in the portfolio since 2013. 12 years. There's a separate video on this flat actually. So we're going to try to park outside. I'm going to show you the window, show you what it's like on the outside, and then start driving to the next one. This is the entrance to the next property there. That's the sort of area around it, and it's just up there. Just up there, that property. You can see it was a little bit dodgy when I bought it. It wasn't great, but it is much better now. Well, some would say. Alright guys, so I'm about to start driving. This one is going to be about 11 minutes away, but I'll be honest, I kept trying to set up the camera with the sat-nav to work together. I tried Apple CarPlay, I tried my phone, it just doesn't work. But trust me, it's only 11 minutes away, so I'm going to get on the road, try using the sat-nav until I get to the point where I'm quite confident, and then I'm going to switch it on and talk about this property. So I am now 8 minutes into this 11-minute drive. So I think it is actually 11 minutes, so the sat-nav didn't lie. It took me through some weird streets, and only now I'm on the road that I'm familiar with. So let's talk about that last flat that we've seen there. That last flat was a 1-bedroom flat. As I've said, it is actually around 60 square meters, so it's got full potential to be converted to a 2-bedroom flat. It is a bit dated. Since 2013 there wasn't a lot of refurb done to it. We've had consistent tenants. It is renting below market value. There's actually a separate video on this flat as a whole, but it's 1-bedroom, 60 square meters. Current value is around £60,000. The rent that we're getting is around £475 per month. It's a big flat. You cannot get anything like that in that area for that price, which is why the tenant has been there for more than 3 years, and I think she's going to stay there for even longer because it's a great deal, great flat, and she's really made it her home. And because she has, we've increased the rent a little bit, but we're not going to increase it anymore at this stage, simply because she's looking after the place. She's paying every month on time. She's made it her home, so we don't want to hit her and bring it up to the market rate of maybe £700 a month. You know, we don't want to almost double the rent for her. And the numbers work for us, so it is all good. It's right next to a big shopping centre. It's really good. So that flat is a good addition to the portfolio, has been for the past 13 years. In terms of repairs, I will need to have a think about what we have done. So let me just park in here because I'm already at the next flat and I can talk you through the repairs. So for the repairs, there were some boiler issues. So I would say over the 13 years, there was maybe £1,000 of boiler repairs. So that's something to take into account. There was some little things in the bathroom, maybe £300 worth of bathroom repairs. A few things in the kitchen, like the sink tap repairs, maybe another £1,000, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's been a really reliable flat. It's been really good. There's a bit of touching up here and there, in terms of painting and stuff, but I honestly would say that over the 13-year period, it cost us maybe £3,000 in repairs. So very little. If you divide it over the 13 years, it's like hundreds of pounds per year. So fantastic flat, loads of potential. And here we are at the next one 11 minutes later, so let me show you that one. Here we are, right next to Glasgow Fort, and you can see they went a bit mad with the Scotland flags. It's a little bubble in my car. We've got a Scotland flag there, Scotland, Ireland flag there, but this is the next property right here. So let me talk about it. Let's go. From here, I don't think I need to use the sat nav. I actually know how to get to the next few flats, so we should be okay. But it's a bit horrible because the sat nav really got me addicted. I cannot go anywhere without the sat nav. Like in there, I was so stuck without the sat nav. It was really difficult. So this flat right there is actually a terraced house. The value of that one is around 120,000. I have a refurb video on my channel about that one. It cost almost £40,000 to refurb. So it didn't seem like it was in bad condition, but when you start ripping things out, you realize that things are, I think it's a 60-year-old house, and everything inside was 60 years old. It was just a bit of paint on top of it, basically. So that one was difficult. It needed a full rewire, new windows, new doors, everything plastered, all new ceilings, a bit of stuff in the loft and the roof, all new plumbing. You name it, it needed it. It was a nightmare, absolute nightmare, to be honest. But right now it is like new. It is perfect. It's rented out for £1,100 a month. So as I said, a value of about 120,000 and £1,100 a month rent. So not a bad yield, but a very high quality asset. So this area are all new built houses around about there, and that bit is a bit dodgy in the ex-council. It looks like it anyway, but the neighbours are good, and there's all new built all around. So really nice people, really nice houses, and you know, a lot of houses here are like 300,000, 400,000, 200,000. So great potential to keep growing. It also doesn't have gas. It now has high retention storage heaters. This guy is right up my arse. I'm gonna really get annoyed. Anyways, it's got high quality, high retention storage heaters, which is great. So there's not much that needs to be done in terms of maintenance. Everything is brand new. So I think for many years, this flat is not gonna cause many issues for myself. There will have to be electrical checks that will need to be done. There is a bit of maintenance. A new fence will have to be put up. That's going to be around £1,500. Apart from that, great cash flowing asset. The refurb, we've messed up a little bit, so now we have borrowings that we'll need to pay for the refurb. Then we have the mortgage, so a bit to sort on the finance side of that one. But overall, it was a good experience. It was the biggest refurb I've ever taken on, and I've learned so much with that flat or house. So I don't regret it at all, and now a lovely family is going to have that flat for hopefully a long time. That's the main thing with that one. It's just been bought 7-8 months ago. It took 6 months to do the refurb. It's just been rented out for the past month, so not too much to report in terms of repairs for that one, which is great because we've spent so much money on it. I can't afford any more repairs, honestly. So let's get on to the next one. The next one is not too far away. Actually, the area around here is all really nice. It is the fort is just on the right hand side of me. All new built houses, and we're gonna approach Easter House, and we've got a couple of places in Easter House that I'll talk to you about in a second. But right now we've got another, I think, 5 to 6 minutes drive. So we will do that, and then I will stop and show you the next property, just like with the other ones. This part I'm gonna keep the camera on just to show you how quick it is to get to this property, but I'm gonna fast forward it like that, and then we're gonna be at the next property. All right. Here we are. We have arrived. So here is the property. It is just that one there. The entrance is there, and the property is up there. And we are in Easterhouse. Now let's drive to the next one, and I'll tell you about this one whilst we're driving. So this one was bought as a 3-bedroom property. It is the biggest one by far in the portfolio. It's actually 115 square meters, I think, so massive. 3-bedroom flat, ex-council. We have split the living room into 2, so now it's a 4-bedroom apartment. It was rented out relatively quickly. I would say we had to spend around £2,000 to do it up, maybe £3,000 to do it up. A few bits that needed to be done, a few things in the bathroom, new lights had to be installed, but most of it I did it myself. So as I said, it wasn't an expensive project. We put it on the market, tons of interest straight away because it was such a nice condition property, very homely, extremely big. You cannot find anything that size anywhere. And yeah, you had a family moving in. It rents for £850 a month, and the value is around, I would say, £90,000 to £100,000. If you put a bit more money into just doing it up a bit, I would say 100k. If you don't, it is £90,000. We have had this property in the portfolio for, it's a good question. I think it's around 2 years. It's between 2 to 3 years. It has performed really well. We've had the same tenants from the start until now. They seem to be enjoying everything there. And in terms of repairs, now you know the value, you know the rent. The repairs is a tricky one. This flat has been extremely annoying with repairs. It's just been one of the worst ones in the portfolio. But even with it being the worst one in the portfolio, it's still financially viable or feasible. So we already arrived at the next one, by the way. This one in particular has had roof leaks. Because it wasn't factored, I had to deal with it because my flat was the first one to be affected. It's a bit of a nightmare getting all the neighbours together to chip in. I had to pay for it. It was about £1,200 for the roof to be fixed, and then there was another bit that had to get patched up. So that had to be paid, and that was quite an annoying one. There has been various boiler repairs that had to be done. I would say another maybe 400 or 500 quid in boiler repairs. So that's already what, 1,200, 500, 1,700. There was a leak twice. It's an absolute nightmare. The plumber came out from the agency. I'm sorry, but it was really bad. I mean, he changed one of the flexi pipes when it leaked. The second one burst. It was just, the quality was horrible of those pipes. I don't know how he's not noticed it. You should usually see how, when there's a crab bent pipe, you should just replace both the hot and the cold and not just one of them. But the guy, I'm really annoyed at him. I think the agency used a bad plumber. I am convinced of that, really. So the second one also burst, so we flooded the neighbor twice. Instead of going through insurance, I have sorted the neighbor's roof and put in new panels all across the kitchen. So the kitchen panels in the downstairs neighbor's flat are spotless. That was another grand. So we're already at almost £3,000. And there's been a few radiator issues. We had to get all the radiators off, drain them, change a few valves and stuff. They're still not fully sorted, which is a pain, a real pain. They've got those 8mm pipes everywhere, and there's just little leaks in there. It's really frustrating. That was probably another £500, and then another bit. There were mice in there. I had to get rid of mice. I had to get traps in that installed. I had to seal all the holes, make sure everything is properly sealed. So I would say all in a couple of years, we've owned it about £4,000. Boom, gone in repairs. Pretty bad, but that's the reality of property investing, and it's just something that you have to be ready for. Regardless of all those repairs, we're getting steady rent coming in. We are taking it off the agency because I'm doing all the stuff myself. The tenants have my number, and whenever there's issues, I deal with it myself, because the agency, they contact the agency and the agency contacts me saying, oh, what do we do? So I thought I'll take it off the agency, self-manage it, take that extra 10% of rent for myself. And yeah, a couple of years, $850 a month minus the fees, agencies, etc. Now we're taking off the agency. It's going to be fully self-managed. And even with all the repairs, it's still decent return, and I'm hoping that some of those upgrades we do, such as roof, radiators, they're long-term upgrades, so that's for 10-20 years and we won't have to touch it. So overall, annoying, been a pain in the arse for several years, but still a good property. Very big, a lot of potential, different strategies. You know, we could potentially have two families moving in there and having 2 bedrooms each, because it's basically 2 flats in one. So a lot of potential, good flat, and as much as I'm annoyed by it, I'm still keeping it, and we're going to continue renting it out. Let's look at the next one. So the next one is just this one here in the middle, and it is also in Easterhouse. Let's talk about it. Alright, so this one that you have just seen, guys, is 2-bedroom flat. Oh, 2-bedroom flat, around 70 square meters. It was in the portfolio since 2015, so around 10 years. We've had the same tenants in it throughout that whole time, which made it much easier. It was renting at around £400 a month. It is now renting at £600 a month. The market value is around £800 a month for that flat. The current value of that flat is around 75,000. So 75,000, £600 a month rent, self-managed, not much hassle with that. Okay, so not too much hassle with that one. It's, in terms of repairs, we've just had a new boiler fitted into that one, so that was just under £3,000. The old boiler had a lot of issues, so I would say we spent about £1,100 on a new boiler, but we've had it for 10 years and it's been, you know, it worked for 10 years, although it's a new boiler now, but to keep the old one working for 10 years, it cost us £1,000 essentially. We have redone a lot of plastering in that flat. We are now going to be changing the floors, so there are bits and pieces going on there. But in terms of counting it, we're talking £3,000 for the new boiler, £1,000 to keep the old boiler alive, so that's £4,000. I'd say the kitchen was, at the time, it was a really cheap kitchen. Actually, we've done most of it ourselves. I would say maybe £1,000 to £1,200 in the kitchen. So that would be 3, 4, 5,200, and a few other bits and pieces that were done. Probably another 1,000. Yeah, I would say £5,000 to £6,000 it cost us to keep it running and going over the cost of the 10 years, but most of it was that new boiler. So with that, if you forget the new boiler, it only costs us a couple of grand for 10 years to keep running it, maintaining it, etc. So very decent. By the way, in those numbers, I don't perfectly add up all the compliance and stuff. Obviously, for each flat every year, we have insurance. We have the gas checks, we have electricity checks every 5 years, we have the PAT checks, the DGNL checks. So there is all this compliance that we do. But yeah, that flat is a really good one. Again, plan keeping it, make sure it's maintained to a good condition, and yeah, just continue renting it. I mean, I like it, no plans to sell it. And we're now at the next flat right there. Here's to an Easterhouse, and now we've got this top flat right there. As you can see, let's talk about it. So I'm actually going to drive home now, because those are all the flats that I wanted to show you. There's only, apart from this one, there's only really one more worth talking about, but it's an Airbnb, so it's probably better to just show you that when it's empty, and that's 10 minutes away from here, so also very close. So as you can see, I haven't diversified like people recommend me to, but it's just comfortable. I really like it. I'm getting good return, I'm getting good rental yield, I'm getting good capital appreciation. Everything is super close to my house. What else am I going to wish for? Why would I want to be traveling to Liverpool, Manchester, there's just no point. Yes, if you live in London, if you live in the south, you're going to struggle. If you start buying next to your house, you're going to struggle. But you know, there are areas in Scotland, in the north, and if you're lucky enough to be from those areas, you could potentially build a portfolio around you, and everything is within 20 minutes drive, which is perfect. Anyways, let's talk about this last flat that we've just seen. This last flat is a three bedroom flat. Current value, I would say £85,000. When we bought it, it was rented to room by room. I don't think it was done quite rightly, because you probably need an HMO license for that, but there might have been some relatives there, so I don't know how it went. But renting room by room is the most profitable. I mean, 3 bedrooms, if you rent it, 500 quid a room potentially, maybe even 400 quid a room, yeah, that's 1200 quid. And then if they pay the bills, that's a very good rental return. We didn't want to go down that route. We wanted to rent it to a nice family, have them there long term, and that was it. So that's what we did. They've been there for about a year, so the flat has been on for about a year. In terms of work, there was a bunch of old furniture and stuff that had to come out. There was new flooring that was put in one of the rooms. A lot of painting and touching up was done. There's been a bit of work to sort a few things in the kitchen, like we needed a new electric cooker, and yeah, a couple of other bits and pieces. All the compliance obviously had to be done with the gas boilers, etc. And yeah, the current value, as I said, around £85,000. The rent is £800 a month, so relatively decent. It is 3 bedrooms. It used to have 3 bathrooms, but during the time that they've owned it, one of the bathrooms started leaking because the plumbing was horrible. They've done it so shit. Like the quality was crap, absolutely crap. They've just run some most basic pipes connected with almost nothing for drainage, plumbed it all into the same place. Absolute idiots, honestly. I don't know who was working on that flat. But anyways, one of the bathrooms, we have pretty much decommissioned it. So there was a shower in there. We took it all out, ripped it all out, threw it all away in the recycling centre. Always make sure you throw things away either in the proper facility where you pay for it, or in a recycling centre, because there's loads of people dumping things and I hate that. Anyways, that bathroom, we completely decommissioned it, removed all of that, put new flooring in there, and now that's a cupboard. So she's got that for storage. We've repainted it, and she can put all the boxes and whatever else she wants in there. There's still a mirror in there. There's still a big light, so perfect for a little walk-in wardrobe, almost, with its own door. There's been a couple of times the boiler pressure dropped, that I sorted that myself. There was a toilet repair that had to get done, that was also relatively cheap. So yeah, really in the year that we've owned it, maybe £400, because also the lock had to be changed as well. So £400 in repairs. Everything else was all good. The family, I think they were looking to move out potentially. Now they're deciding to stay there, so hope they stay, hope they enjoy the property, and yeah, good one to keep in the portfolio. And that's it, guys. I am home now. As I said, the whole drive, you can, if I didn't stop and talk to you guys, I could have done the whole drive in 20-25 minutes. So it's very, very close together. It makes me very happy and very comfortable having all the flats right there. So if I need to go to anyone to see what's going on, I'm right there. I don't need to drive 5 hours or letting others manage it. It is a relatively small portfolio. Maybe if I wanted to scale up to 200 properties, 100 properties, I wouldn't be able to have them all so close. But at the moment, they're all giving me good yield. They are all relatively decent in terms of the mortgage payments, and I just like having them all around. So little things like that, I'm not going to get ripped off by the agency or whoever is charging me a emergency fee to come out. I can go and sort it myself most of the time. As I said, as I scale up, if I had 100 properties, I don't think I'd be able to go for every single repair, and you just have to accept there's a management fee, you have to accept there's emergency call-out fees, you have to accept you're going to get ripped off by tradespeople. But that's just part of scaling up. It's hard to accept for me, but if I want to go down that route, that's the path I have to follow. But as it stands right now, it is relatively low stress, it's enjoyable. and I like it. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something about the portfolio and how the numbers work for me, and if any of the lessons you can implement for yourselves. If there's something you don't agree with and you think I should do differently, drop it in the comments below, subscribe, and see you next time.